All right. So at first I was thinking about not even using um, video. I was like, I'm just gonna record audio, and I was like, why do that? Why not just I have video? Why not use video? So I got how many? 4 videos uploading on YouTube right now as I speak. They are set to go off at different days, but they have all been made on the same day. But there was something interesting that I wanted to talk about, and that is concerning the alt-right. You know, the white nationalist, national socialist, neo-Nazi, white supremacist type thing. And believe it or not, there's actually variations in between. There are white nationalists that are not Nazis. There are white nationalists that don't subscribe to National Socialism. There are different elements in this, but more specifically, like, I'm making content against the racists, against the Nazis, you know, the white supremacists. So I'm doing this because before I end my recording day, this is my recording videos day, lit a bunch of incense, getting ready to relax, maybe play some video games for a little bit, and then go to bed. But before I did that, I wanted to talk a little bit about this, like me covering Nazis. Find it really kind of strange that I make anti-Nazi content. And some, not all, some of my right-leaning friends, I hate this goddamn webcam. Some of them get really antsy and itchy about it. Like, oh, I'm not a Nazi or anything, but I don't know. Maybe you shouldn't do that. I don't know about this. I don't agree, but I'm not a Nazi. And it's like, well, hold on a minute. You know, if you're not a Nazi, not a fascist, you're not like a racist type person, you're just a normal right-leaning person with some right-leaning views, what are you worried about? I mean, I suppose if you're a Nazi, then some of my content might be worrisome. I don't know that it would be worrisome, but I mean, it would be something to have a dissenting opinion about and maybe be irritated about or frustrated, something of that nature. I could see that, yeah, if you were a Nazi. But what I don't understand is, they're like, oh, I'm not a Nazi or anything. And it's like, well, if you're not, it doesn't matter if you're right or left. If you're anti-Nazism, then, anti-fascism. Fascism is a form of dictatorship. If you're against that, shouldn't matter if you're a right-leaning conservative, ANCAP, whatever, libertarian. Shouldn't matter. Because you would still be in the same position as me of being anti-Nazis and anti-fascism, right? So I don't understand what this whole like, I don't know, I don't like it. I don't get this. This is a really weird behavior, and it makes you kind of question. I'm not pulling you into question, okay? I'm not some kind of SJW weirdo that's going to call everyone a fucking Nazi just because they land on the right side of the political spectrum, because I know that that's an egregious bunch of horse shit. I don't agree with right-leaning political positions, but I don't hate them. I don't know if you noticed this, but I've actually even tried reaching out to talk to Nazis. Why? Because in order to debunk any arguments they may have, I have to know how they think. And know how they think, I have to talk to one. So, I mean, to do that, you have to be diplomatic. The same with the alt-left. It's like, I'm not really trying to be anyone's enemy here. I'm just, like, talking about ideas that I think are bad. And if you think I'm wrong, if you think these are really good ideas, then you need to put forth an argument to convince me of that. But so far, I have not heard anything convincing other than idealistic, childhood dream shit, utopia, fanta crap. And completely escaping realism. So, I mean, I'm not hearing an argument that would persuade me. Now, I have talked to Ann Capps, libertarian, like right-leaning, like, capitalists. I have talked to them. They have an interestingly compelling argument. And, it's not far off from mine, but it kind of is. Like, I mean, like, I don't think you can have a system without some form of capitalism. I think even barter and trade is a system of capitalism. I don't know if there's any alternative to capitalism. It's an economic system, not a government system. And I do agree that major corporations, I heard this from a right-leaning friend of mine. They said that corporations are just treating people like their livestock. Oh, yeah, absolutely, I agree. And that's one of the reasons I'm against crony capitalism and corporatism. My position on that is to hold them accountable, hold the major the conglomerate corporations accountable, and you need a system of government to do that. I'm kind of more of a liberal democracy, power in the hands of people, a little bit of power to the government, and corporations should not have, like, they should be below the civilians when you're talking about major corporations. Stupid fucking webcam. I'm trying to get the cat. Somebody asked about the cat in a previous video, so I'm trying to get her. Mama Smokey. Come here, baby girl. Come here. Come here. Here she goes. Say hi to the people, Mama Smokey. Say hi to the people. She is a sweetheart. She is. When we got her, she was really fucking overweight. Like, really bad. Like, the vet, when we took her in for her initial vet checkup, she was really concerned about her weight. Looked like she had a few buns in the oven. A few. Quite a few. And so we got her weight down, and that's, really good. She's a lot healthier now, but, I mean, this cat loves fucking food. I don't think Mama Smokey is a good name for her. I think that's a stereotypical name. Like, everybody names a fucking gray cat Smoke something. So, I think, like, if you're gonna go with Smokey, it should be, like, Smoky Bacon Cheddar or something like that. I kind of want to call her Miss Piggy or Hungry. I think that's a good name for her, is Hungry. Because, man, this cat loves food. She is obsessed with food. She loves it. Don't you, Mama Smokey? Yes, you love wet food. So, yeah, that's the cat. And she's just sitting very comfortably in my lap right now, just laying there. She's very docile, very laid back. But anyway, about, like, another thing that I want to talk about, this me covering the alt-right type thing, is that, like, I want to talk about Crown T. Crown T has been doing a lot of videos on the subject matter, and he's been doing a really fucking phenomenal job. Now, there was one video that was into question where it sounded kind of like he was calling, like, Dave Rubin and Michael Shermer Nazis, kind of in an SJW way, but I think what he was trying to say is that they were not, that they were kind of contributing to the problem, I think is what he was trying to say. Not sure. The latest video he has up about how the alt-right, or how the right-leaning people or right-wing prostitutes themselves to the alt-right agenda. It's an interesting video. He's trying to, I think, bring awareness to the fact that there is a rise of white nationalism, of these kind of neo-Nazi type ideologies. There is a rise of it. And we've been focusing a lot on social justice warriors. We've been focusing a lot on alt-left, but very seldomly do we focus on the alt-right. And I'm like, why is that? I mean, why can't you have a balance of both? And for me, it's like I've covered anti-SJW, like I've covered social justice, like up and down, top to bottom, like every which way, like any trending story, a social justice warrior story, I was on it, debunking it and criticizing it, whatever. But not many people are doing that with like the neo-Nazi thing. And it's like, why not? Why aren't we criticizing them? And I mean, like, if you're not neo-Nazi, then I don't see why you would have a problem doing that or have a problem with it. I'm not going around punching people. I'm just talking about, like, some talking points. In fact, I made an anti-alt-left video not that long ago. So it's like, I don't know what the big thing is, but, I mean, I will put a plug into Kraut & T's channel this video, and I will have one on an upcoming video as well. And I think you should check out some of the things that he's done. He's gone to old concentration camps and talked about the names of the people who died there. He has talked about communism and bastardized art. He's talked about the alt-right in extensive detail. And I think that's why a lot of people don't like him. And it's like, this is becoming very weird. It's like, seriously, you guys, if you're not neo-Nazis, why are you acting so weird? And then I had my libertarian friend, C.R. Williams. He made a video and he said, fuck both of you sides. Fuck the alt-right, fuck the alt-left. And I'm like, hell yeah, motherfucker. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's as simple as that. It's so simple. But some of the other, some people, not all of them, just some people, they've acted kind of weird about it. And I really do think that the rise of white nationalism, neo-Nazi type philosophy, it is on the rise. I've seen it. I've been to dark parts of the internet, and I mean, like, I did not see this on LiveLeak, okay? I went to a very scary part of the internet, and because by the time it got around to hitting me, watching the Christchurch shooter's body cam, that had been pulled off the internet. It wasn't even on LiveLeak anymore. I had to go to a dark, scary part of the internet to watch it. And all the comments underneath it were nothing but neo-Nazis. Nothing but. From all over the world. And, you know, I've scoured some weird YouTube channels and I've seen it. And it's like, this really is kind of a problem. I mean, you think social justice warriors are a problem. They're trying to agitate social justice warriors on purpose to create a civil war. So they're both kind of important and relevant topics to talk about. And getting people away from this idea of racialized, like, identitarianism, it's kind of racialized politics, is a good idea, whether it's coming from the alt-left or the alt-right. Identity politics are poison. You know, I mean, being a race, being a sexual orientation, like T.J. Kirk had a very accurate statement when he said this. That is not an achievement. That's just something you are given. You are born with that. Period. End of story. Civil rights, I mean, equality, we have it. So, I think both are important to argue against, because you look at the alt left, and you see in college campuses segregation, separate but equal stuff, and it's like, well, we haven't seen this back in the 1950s. Why do you think the alt-right, the neo-Nazis, aren't saying anything about that? It's the right-leaning libertarian people or liberal people like myself that speak out against it, being like, hold on a minute, this is really kind of fucked up. Why aren't you hearing anything about it from the neo-Nazis? Oh, because that's part of what they want, isn't it? But see, the thing is that if you go around and you make your identity like a sexual orientation, your race, if you make that your identity, not culture, culture is different. There's 1,001 different cultures within the Black community to choose from, the Latino community to choose from. This is really weird saying Latino, because south of the border shouldn't be Latino. That's Native American, mostly. There's some European ancestry that come from Spain, but I don't know. Whatever, Latino. There's 1,000 different cultures from Asia. I mean, no one culture fits specifically to an entirety of a race. So a culture is completely different than race. So if you're trying to tie culture and race together, you're making a big mistake, because those things are completely different from each other. And you can choose a culture. You can choose that. You cannot choose your race. You cannot choose your sexual orientation. You can choose your culture. But when you make your identity, your culture, solely about your sexual orientation, your gender, or your race, you are deliberately separating yourself from everyone else. And then whining about why everyone treats you differently. Well, because you have pronounced yourself that way. You are otherizing yourself. This is a problem I have with the gay community. The gay community participates in otherizing homosexuals. I mean, there's nothing really to be proud or have pride in being homosexual. I mean, like, if gay people got together and did something, let's say, about, like, back in the 90s, there was a huge problem with gay and trans teens being the biggest percentage of homeless teens. It's like, well, we could have created a foundation to take care of these teens that have been kicked out of their homes, instead of whining and bitching. That would have been productive. I always thought the gay rights movement was about civil rights, equality, having equal rights, liberties, and freedoms. And now that we can get married, we have equal rights, liberties, and freedoms. So there's nothing left to bitch about. But yet the guns keep rolling on, don't they? So this is what I'm saying, is that, like, just like the gay community, they create a brand for themselves. This is how gay people present themselves. This is how they talk. This is how they dress. This is the music they listen to. You are creating a culture specifically designated around your sexual orientation. And I think cultures are something that anybody can participate in. I think straight people can participate in what I consider to be gay culture. I really do. In fact, we've seen that before. What were they? What would we call them? We had a name for them. metrosexuals. That's what we called them, metrosexuals. Straight people, straight guys that were into gay culture as a culture. And it's like that's the thing about a culture, is anybody can participate. There are plenty of white people that participate in Asian cultures. There are Asian people that participate in European cultures. Cultures is not something that should exclude people based on race, sexuality, or gender. When you do that, you are discriminating. So, hence, I'm an egalitarian. So, back to what I was saying. It is very important to tackle both the alt-left and the alt-right. Because anything that focuses around identity, around gender, around race, around sexual orientation, is going to is going to create division. It's not bringing people together. There's nothing egalitarian about it. It's actually quite the opposite of being egalitarian. Quite the opposite. Deliberately making a group of people different than everyone else. And it's like, yeah, we do have our differences, but they're not that vast. You know, not. Culturally, you could probably make that argument. Racially, not really. Color, that's about it. Some minor itsy bitsy little things that really only a medical professional would know. They're the only ones that would even need to know, and even then the information seems relatively irrelevant. Sexuality, you really think gay people are that different from heterosexuals? We wanted to get married. Not really that different. I do think that there are some more studies that they could do on homosexuals, like as far as what homosexuals find attractive, like what types of masculine or feminine traits turn them on or off. And I think that would be an interesting neurological study. Not psychological. Psychology can play its bit in there, but neurology. Like I want a Helen Fisher type study like she did when she found the part of the brain responsible for romantic love, pair bonding. That kind of study. So I think that would be interesting to look at. That would be an interesting thing to look into. But I really do. I think it's important to not just tackle the alt-left, SJW type shit. I think it's important to tackle the alt-right type shit too. Anything that revolves around identitarianism, racialized, identity politics. Identity politics are really kind of the source of division, divisiveness. It's all about separating people and not really bringing people together. So, regardless if it comes from the alt-left or the alt-right, an ANCAP might disagree with me economically, but I think socially, they're usually pretty liberal. So, I don't know what this squirming stuff is about, but stop, because it makes you look bad. I talk about Nazism pretty openly. Like I could see how an SJW would embark on some of my conversations and get the wrong idea, because like I'm trying to get like in the lion's den. I'm like, I want to seek out Nazis, white nationalists, National Socialists. I want to talk to them, find out what their ideas are, how they're converting people over to their side, and debunk those arguments. I don't want to get too deep, but, you know, like, I talk about it pretty comfortably. Like, I don't understand, like, why get squirmish? And the same with the alt-left. Talk about the alt-left quite comfortably. Like, I know that anarcho-socialism, like, what? That's just as much of a contradiction, according to the classical definitions, as anarcho-capitalism. Anarchy is anarchy. Well, technically, anarchy is a absence of government system. So there's no government, but that doesn't mean it's an absence of civilization. So I think that's interesting to point out. So I guess socialism is a system of government, though. That can't go with it. Capitalism can exist because it's not a system of government, it's a system of economics, of economy. Interesting things to think about, indeed. And these are all conversations I find to be interesting to have, and I like to have them face to face. Like, so if I do live streams with different people, I would do a live stream with an alt-leftist, an anarcho-socialist, a communist, an SJW. I would do one with a white nationalist, a national socialist, neo-Nazi. I would do that. It's because I'm curious on how they think. We may not agree, but that doesn't mean that we need to wage war because we disagree. That is radical stuff. That's what you call being a radical activist. So let's go back to KMFDM's lyrics. What were they? Radical anarchist, terrorists, radical anarchists, fascists, and terrorists are responsible for the violence. I think that pretty much well sums it up. If we're competing in an open marketplace of ideas, people with different ideas need to speak, and I will allow them to. I'm not going to shriek someone down, and that's why I am very, very much against blocking. If you notice, like, the trolls are not blocked. I let them speak. That's how anti-PC, pro-free speech I am. I want to hear what they have to say, even if it's a bunch of garbage, because they're trolling. And that's what trolls do, is they just utter a bunch of garbage. But it's fun. To be honest, I kind of think it's fun. I get kind of a kick out of it. Sometimes I troll them back. It's kind of fun. It's kind of like having a toy to play with. Sometimes it's funny. Sometimes I laugh about it. So I don't care. But so that's one message I would send to right-leaning people, is if you're really not a neo-Nazi, I don't think that you should get squirmish about talking about anti-Nazi stuff. And I mean, like, if you fall somewhere on those lines, when it comes to me, wear it. Seriously. Just because we disagree doesn't mean that we have to fight. I thought we were civilized. Come on now. It's kind of a joke, isn't it? Because I thought we were civilized. You know, talking to neo-Nazis that are advocating for this crazy amount of violence and police state to enforce their way. And it's like, that's not really civilized, is it? It's not civilized. So it's kind of barbaric. Kind of barbaric. So, I mean, you know, just you know, don't be afraid. Have a fucking civil conversation. It's easy. It's easy to do. And, I mean, if you're not a neo-Nazi and you think badly of their philosophy, then speak badly about their philosophy. It's so easy. This is not complicated shit. I'm done with this rant. I just kind of wanted to make this video real quick. I don't even know if I'll make a cover photo for it, or maybe something real simple. I don't know. But, I'm off to smoke some nug and play video games, and then have a good night. Like, share, subscribe, comment, hit the bell button. Any channel you subscribe to.